What's up, YouTube? It's Friday! Yeah! Friday morning! Let's get it! Friday morning, 8 o'clock, Eastern Standard Time. What's going on this weekend? I'm gonna go get me a couple steaks today. Have a couple steaks for dinner. Maybe some potatoes. I don't know if I might do some sweet potatoes. I've got some russet potatoes at home. Maybe I'll make a little bit of mashed potatoes for the kids. Got a lot of big things coming up. I'm gonna do a little bit more of the live stream thing. I'm setting up my account on a couple other apps, getting some new cameras. I got a nice new mic. I got a bunch of mics, so thinking about double insulating one of the rooms in my home and creating a studio in there. And we'll see how that goes. I want to build the floor and the ceiling down, the floor up, the ceiling. I can just insulate the ceiling, drywall that all in, and get that nice and insulated in there, and possibly have that just as a studio room because I have the room in there. Like I said, I'll just build everything out. Possibly seal the windows up and stuff, but we'll see. Like I said, like I said, it's Friday. What's everybody got going on this weekend? I don't really have a lot of plans. I'm probably going to work like usual. That's what I always do on the weekends. I usually just work. And then I don't even consider this work because I don't make any money off of it, but I continue to do it because maybe one day. But if I don't keep doing it, I got to put in, I ain't going to get out. So I continuously put into this, and I want to make my videos a little bit better and kind of, have segments of the videos, not just the live stream is just an extra thing that I can jump in and kind of inform everybody on what's going on and then make the videos. I guess that's the way you're actually supposed to do it. This is kind of an introduction to a video that's going to be coming out later on. I usually do a story time in this video that I do during the day, but no stories come to mind right now that I can really think about. I'm trying to think about something crazy that happened, or maybe something that I can remember from when I was a kid. All the craziness that we used to do. I was in the hospital quite a few times when I was a kid. Lots of brushes with death. Lots of accidents. You can just imagine. I had two very, very traumatic things happen when I was a kid that should never happen to someone that age. And it wasn't anything like mental, like, that was done to me by someone intentionally. The first one really wasn't intentional. I think it just was an accident. But then, who knows? I heard all kinds of crazy stuff that, when I was a kid that I didn't understand. And when I got older, I kind of understood things. But, back when I was a kid, you were able to just run the streets and, stay out. I lived in the city, and all the kids were always out playing. You know what I mean? We didn't worry about the things we worry about now because there wasn't social media, and the stuff really wasn't out there that there was, sex offenders living in every other house, it seems like anymore. Now you can just go on a website and see that they're everywhere. It's crazy when you consider the amount of sexual predators that live in a given area. And we were looking a couple weeks ago, and someone brought it to my attention of how many that live within like a 2-block radius of my house. I was so surprised. And then there's bus stops for the schools in my area that were right in front of these people's houses. I don't understand how the school districts allow this, and that the kids can't even you really shouldn't let your kid go to the bus stop by themselves till they're a certain age. And I feel that school buses, they can't stop at every house. It can't happen in maybe in a rural area, but when you're in the suburbs, you just can't. Especially like downtown, it's not going to happen. You can't stop at every house and make sure that every kid is 100% protected. It's just not going to happen. So a lot of the parents walk their kids to their buses and stuff like that. But anyway, that could be a story for another time. So when I was a kid, you were able to go out and, mom gave you rules. Don't cross this street. Stay here. You can go around the block, but don't cross any streets. So I was allowed to go around the block. So I would ride the block all day on my bicycle. I would just ride around circles and circles and circles and circles. That was crazy when you were a kid. You never, you weren't allowed to cross the streets. I could cross the alleyways. That was it. But I wasn't allowed to cross the main streets. And then as I got older, here's your radius you're allowed to go. You can't go any further than this. You know what I mean? I don't want you in another borough. So you were allowed to go down to, I was allowed to cross like 2 or 3 blocks down. I wasn't allowed to go past the main one down at the end, and the main one up at the top, and I could go to the park. So I had a pretty big radius of where I was allowed to go. Stop at the stop signs, obey traffic laws, make sure you watch for cars. And that was really brought to me, like, always watch for cars. Don't be riding down the wrong way or anything like that. And when at my age, I'm 8, 9, 10 years old. Okay, so I'm on the sidewalk on my bicycle. I'm not in the street. I'm not riding the street, okay? Never at that age. 9 years old. I'm in 3rd grade. You're not allowed in the street at 9 years old. You're on a bicycle. You know what I mean? You're not a fucking adult in the middle of this, you know what I mean? No. And back then, there wasn't a lot of people on the sidewalk. And I never was flying around and trying to run, intentionally run into people. And I always, because my mom would have whooped my ass if I would have did that. So I was able to stay out past dark. I don't remember when exactly it was when this happened. But one night in particular, I was going down. I got home late because I was all the way on the other side of town riding my bicycle where I wasn't supposed to be. So anyway, I got home and my mom was sleeping, and there was a note on the door: go down to Grandma's house to get something, to get dinner because she made extra for me. So I rode my bicycle up to the house. My mom was sleeping. I got the note on the door, or it was inside or something. She said, you know, she was sleeping for work. To go to Grandma's house, go to Nanny's house, and get food. And of course, my dad, he was at the bar. That was his office. And my grandma, my nanny, she lived down the street, across the street, and halfway up the block. So all I had to do was cross the street. So I rode down to the end of the block, on the sidewalk, mind you. It said, don't walk, cars coming. Cars coming from the opposite way or on the other side of the street. It's a two-way street, okay? So I see a car coming. I see the light says don't walk, so I'm not walking. I do edge out onto the street because there's nothing coming from the opposing traffic. I go out into the street to the opposing lane, not to where the car is coming from, okay? Somehow, I'm looking at the don't walk sign and looking down the street at the opposing traffic, sitting in the lane on the opposing side of this lady that's coming down the road. All of a sudden, I'm in the air. And I remember just hitting the ground and trying to get up and walk to get out of the street. And I can't walk because my leg is like completely snapped in half. I never told this story to anybody. Nobody ever asked. That's the crazy thing about this. A few blocks away. And somehow, I don't know if she fell asleep or what, she came over into the other lane and hit me. And told the cops that I was going down a one-way street. And I didn't stop. You know, I just tried to ride my bicycle through when I was still standing there. And if I would have been moving, I would have gotten hit, and I would have probably hit a parked car when she hit me. Because I landed directly across from where she swerved over and hit me. And I got up and walked. If I wouldn't have got up and walked, I would have been fine, but I didn't want to get hit again. So I got up and hobbled over, you know? And I could hear the lady talking, and I could hear in her voice she was groggy, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if she fell asleep, she was on pills, she was something, I don't know what. I just remember getting whacked pretty hard, and I was 9 years old. Think about it, 9 years old, you get hit by a car going 35 miles an hour, and it sends you in the air. It hits you so hard, your head bounces off and it just sends you into the air. At 9 years, you think about that. If you have kids, 9 years old, and your kid gets hit by a car, a drunk driver, a person under the influence of whatever she was under the influence of, hits your kid. And he's laying in the middle of the street. No one's around except this intoxicated or this lady that's not in her right mind. Your kid's laying on the ground at 9 years old. What do you do? Yes, this is the 80s, but needless to say, I had a broken leg, a couple chipped teeth. My whole face was completely ripped up. I still have scars from it. This is almost 40 years ago. This is 38 years ago this happened to me. And I'm only talking about it now. Never really brought this up. So the police take the report that I was riding. They took the woman's word for this. Now get this. They took the woman's word for this. That I was in the street riding down the wrong way. That I wasn't in the crosswalks at 9 years old. And I was told by my parents, by all my family, to obey and stay on. At 9 years old, you're not going in the street. If you're told not to go in the street, you're not going in the street. At my age, in the 80s, you got your ass whooped. Not like these kids nowadays. You listen to your parents. You obeyed your parents' rules, not like kids today. The police took her word for it over mine because I was 9 years old. And all I was trying to do was get to my grandmother's house to get dinner. I could have been killed that night. Had I been riding down a two-way street the wrong way, that lady would have killed me. Think about it. The way she was erratically driving and came over into the wrong lane, she would have killed me. But anyway, they took her word for it. Now, just hold on. This goes out into the newspaper because back then that was big news in our town. This goes out into the newspaper. All the kids at school were reading it. The teacher read it. Everyone took their opinion on it and blamed me. It was my fault that I got hit. This is the way it got pushed into it because I was in the hospital for like, I don't even know. I was in the hospital for a while. I don't even remember how long I was in the hospital for. I would have to ask my mom. I felt like I was in the hospital for months. It felt like I was in there for months. I think I might have been in the hospital for a month. I have to ask my mom to actually. And if mom's in here right now, please write down and comment how long I was in the hospital for. Or if anyone else in my family's in here, remember how long I was in the hospital for, please just type in there for me because I don't remember. It felt like I was in there forever. And then I got pneumonia while I was in there. And I had to go through therapy to walk again because it broke my tibia and my fibula. It wasn't a compound fracture, it was just a fracture. It was a complete break. But it did pierce the skin, but it was broke. And I still feel it sometimes, especially when it's bad, the weather's bad. But when I went back to school, like all the kids, you know, they wrote letters to me, everyone was very nice and caring, and everyone showed their affection, not so much affection, but everyone sent me letters and pictures, and I didn't really keep in touch with anyone. I didn't hear from anybody too much, but I missed a lot of school. I knew that. I was in a full cast for my from my toes to my freaking groin. I was in a full cast. People were coming to visit me, you know. Sometimes I think a couple of the kids from school came. I really didn't have a lot of friends back then. But I just wanted to go back to school. I just wanted to get out of the hospital. I was in there forever. It felt like I was in there forever. I know it was summertime when I got out because I remember getting that half cast from my knee down to my toes, and I had that boot like on forever. It seemed like forever. All I wanted to do was ride my bike. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to ride my bike, and I couldn't. I tried. Trust me. I wanted to ride my bike so bad. My bike was bent in half, of course. But it was so great. Once I got my cast off, my Uncle Steve took me out. And he bought me a brand new bicycle. Sorry, I'm a little teary-eyed. And damn, that sucks. Some things are really hard to talk about. It's probably why I don't talk about it. But yeah, so he took me out, got me a new bicycle, and I was still trying to ride it. And the day that I got that thing cut off, oh, my legs stank so bad. But I went out, got on my bicycle, and I was able to go back out and, be me again. I want to say it was through my birth, too, so I was 10. I think I was 10. 9 or 10. And I got to go back out on my bicycle and be me again. It was great. But that's that story. That sucked. But, hey, you live, you learn. Some people just don't care. But yeah, when I was going into school, everybody was like, man, that sucks. You were riding down the wrong side of the street. I'm like, no, I wasn't riding down the wrong side of the street because I listened to my parents. Unlike some of you little bastards. But yeah, and all the kids were like, yeah, you were riding down the wrong side of the street, that was your fault, you got hit. But it wasn't my fault that I got hit by a goddamn car. It really was not my fault that I got hit by a car. Hey, what's going on? But hey, that's just another story. I guess I could have drugged that story out a little bit more, but I didn't. If you guys enjoy the stories that I tell, I'll continue to tell them. They're all real. It's not like they're fake. I promise they're not fake stories. I got some pretty crazy stories, man. I do. I did some pretty stupid things when I was a kid. But we'll jump back in. I'm at my first job, so I got to go and do a little work and then head to my next job. So I hope you all have a great day. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. They got, hopefully this weekend, I'll be announcing that contest. I'm almost at 1,900 subscribers. We're hitting 2,000 subscribers soon. So, hey, take a chance. You might win some prizes. You might win something. So, you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Later, man. Later, girls. Later, guys. Later, everybody. Have a great day.